Here's the point, right? Let's go to the other one now, Maui Stick. What is your good point? This is, by the way, another completely on-brand Maui Stick take. Come on, hit me with it. Come on. What would you take as good? The whole RMR, all those teams, got all the teams from the Americas, APAC region, all of Europe. We had so many teams in Europe, underdogs coming through. Nobody's coming through. We had legends come back. Come on, what is Maui Stick? Let's think about what range Maui would go for his good point. What are you going to hit me with? What was your good point?
I mean, it's obviously fitting given the fact that I was working the Americas RMR, but I just think that it's nice to see that Liquid has secured the legend spot and that they're continuing the form that they've had for basically since Cologne now, because I would say that, they probably had a pretty heavy honeymoon when they brought in Yukindar for Cologne. They were all trying really hard. They talked about how everyone was playing 140 plus hours in the past 2 weeks at that event. And then to actually see that they did very well at ESL Pro League, and they did, I guess they dropped one map in all of the RMR to Complexity because Floppy dropped like 38 kills or something like that. Yeah, that felt a little bit excusable, but just the fact that they're now a consistent team, and I don't know, I'm curious what you would say, Thorin, on this, but I would put them in my elite category now. I think that they're one of the top teams in the space, and when I say elite, I don't know, they're a team that basically can make grand finals appearances, as they just did. Whether that means that they have a true chance of winning it, I mean, they were a round away, they were a map away in those grand finals, so they were darn close to doing it. So yeah, I would consider them in my elite category now, just given the consistency that they've shown over the past 3 events.
I'll get to that. What do you think, Heiko? What do you think of Liquid qualifying and how they are as a team in general?
I kind of feel like Yukinder is the type of person that they needed, because I think they were trying to find this in Shocks, right? Because I remember doing EPL when he was playing with them, he was really vocal, and he would be the one hyping up whenever there would be, let's say, I know, 10-5 or 11-4. They would be okay guys, it's all good, we're turning around, it's fine. But I feel like what Shocks was lacking was the actual firepower with which he could be able to encourage the team, and that's what Yikinder kind of has. When you actually have this guy who is maybe encouraging the whole team, but is also showing good numbers, it kind of makes you believe more in yourself.
Right, okay, here's the answer, Maui Snake. The problem I have is this. Normally, I do elite is roughly 4 to 5 teams, but I do say it does vary because I also think it has to be an eye test thing. So the problem right now is this. Technically, they have to be considered elite because even the teams I have above them, like FaZe and Na'Vi, have had rough times and moments where they didn't look that good. So if I'm saying they're not elite, then nobody is elite by that logic. I mean, technically, yes, FaZe Club would still be from the past tournaments and stuff, but Na'Vi's looked a bit ropey the last few anyway. So I guess by that logic, I would put them in there. But if you talk about the traditional, which as you said, is more you're going to win titles, you should be in with a chance to win almost every tournament. I feel like they're more on the border of that. I actually think funnily enough, them, G2 and Vitality were in the same triangle. It's just that at the moment Vitality's taken the slight step up and looks like they're heading more towards the elite category. And obviously they have won a tournament now. So I'd say it's just a bit tenuous at the moment. The weird thing now is the top 10's really good, 1 to 10, but then the top parts, if anything, got a little bit weaker. So I think maybe the major will resolve that anyway. We'll see soon. So I would say the Liquid angle, that's why I made the joke of Liquid qualify. It's mate, where are these expectations? A minute ago, you were to win Pro League, and they made the major from the Americas RMR. It's everyone made it from the Americas RMR, mate. Who the fuck didn't? That's the question, right? It's mental. So I will say, I don't give a fuck about Complexity though, so I don't particularly care about the idea they qualified from there. And also the legend spot, I agree. Look, it's good that they got the legend spot because it means they're guaranteed to be in the top 16 and we don't ever have to worry about any shenanigans of them getting some rough seeding or some BS where you first do BO1s, you just play teams that are too good. You don't have to worry about that. So that is good, I guess, objectively. It's just again, if the scene was perfect, they would do that anyway. Because as you say, if they're the 4th or 5th best team, then they'd just be in there anyway, wouldn't they? It would be a waltz to do that. So, and then in terms of how they look as a team overall, the problem is when you say solid, then you go and say that they're elite. It's well, which are they? Are they solid? Are they really elite? Are they really amazing? So give me on that angle, because that's the problem. Is one of those is it's pretty good, it's going well, or one's it's looking awesome, don't even need to change much. Let's just win those championships, right? So which end are we on that?
Well, off of the most recent form, I would consider them A+ tier, but not S tier. But I would still consider both of those in elite if I had to make a broader term.
Yeah, okay.
So S and A+ is elite to me, and I think the teams that occupy that are just FaZe, Na'Vi, Vitality, and Liquid. That's probably it. I don't think there's anybody else that's in that for me. So yeah, they think they're the fourth best of those 4 teams, but they're still in the category.
Okay. Because that's the thing. I'm also more around that level. Like, the issue I have is this. It's like, because it's still only a couple of lands, I still think it's too small a sample size to, like, know. Like, I think you probably need the major, and then you'll know after that tournament where they're actually at. Because the problem is, like, I actually think, if anything, Yekindar probably overperformed at times at Pro League, and so did OC, but then Elige underperformed, so you're trying to figure out, like do the equation of that. So,
yeah.
The one thing I will say is the issue, I think, for them as a team is they absolutely have to get it so that Elige is the best player of that team. If he's the best player of that team, then we're cooking with gas. You can do all sorts of things. The OC question isn't even a problem at that point in time. Because if he isn't, if it's actually Yekindar as the best player, like, the problem is, it's just not the role where you can carry every single game like Ziwu and Simple and Theory, Nico do, etc. Like, and even those guys, you'll notice, have like another potential top 10 player next to them. So I think you need those 2 to be really good. After that, the rest of them can fill out the squad. Naf doesn't even need to be a superstar anymore. Nitro can do a decent job. Actually seems like he's half decent again. I do notice he gets no credit because everyone's like now trying to pretend like Yekindar comes up with the strats, calls the strats, is the coach, taught Elige how to play accounts. Like, oh, don't worry, you can tell I'm sort of working on. So there'll be a video coming. Don't worry about that. So that whole narrative is absolute bonker, but whatever.
Well, when you listen to the Nitro's calm videos, Yekindar is just talking way more than Nitro, which is concerning. Yeah. I mean, he's putting together a lot of mid-round plans too. On top of that, but I assume that it's
so. Here's the problem with that. Here's how this works. Here's how accountability works, Maui Snake. You know, when he does that, and then he gets a fucking amazing entry and 2Ks people in the head, and then they win the round off of it. Well, you know, all those rounds in that Pro League fall away. He couldn't do that. He couldn't get an entry. And he was just sat back and he was doing nothing. That means he gets the blame for that. Not the IGL. Remember, if we're going off the IGL, it's all about the chess master uses the pieces. So the problem is it's got to go on both sides. It can't only be the credit here and then what's Nitro doing else? So it's like, well, which is it? Is it Nitro? Is it Yekindar? Who was it?
Right. Well, I think that the thing is that video that he posted purposely isn't showing freeze time calls. They're not showing. Yeah. So I think that's where Nitro. I would have to strongly assume he's the one that's saying this is what we're going to be doing this round, and this is why we're doing it. So,
I mean, spoiler.
Building foundation.
If that's not the case, then okay, no problem. Get your Nitro the fuck out of there. So again, that's
true.
Again, someone's got to be doing something. So, want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.